what's actually going on with our bodies as we're kind of making this transition from,
Mhm.
our more fertile years to perimenopause. And we're not yet menopausal, but we're in this kind of nebulous period in between.
Yes. So on our ovaries, as far as we know right now, we are born with all of our follicles. All of our follicles have the eggs inside, right? And we have three different types of cells that make hormones. So we have the cell that makes testosterone and other androgens. We have a cell that makes estrogens. And then those two cells magically convert into a third cell and they make progesterone. So that's what's on your follicle in your ovary. And because we are born with all of our follicles, eventually, as we age gracefully, we essentially run out of follicles. Like eventually the body is like, okay, you're past your reproductive prime. And so therefore we lose the cells that are able to make these hormones. Sometimes in some cycles, we get them pretty strongly, and other times the cells are rather weak. And so the hormone production is weak. What that translates to is where you used to have, hopefully, maybe a very consistent cycle that you could rely upon. It came roughly every month. You got roughly the same symptoms. You knew roughly what was happening. And now you don't, because you're losing those cells and they're becoming weaker. Then you essentially are on kind of like on a roller coaster. So some days you have a lot of estrogen and some days you don't have any estrogen. And this results in some days you have a lot of brain fog and hot flashes and night sweats and joint pain and vaginal dryness. And then you gain that extra lovely weight around the middle. And other days it goes away. Other days you're like, my brain is clear. I have no hot flashes today. I don't understand what's happening. I slept last night and then for the next week you can't sleep again. And it's when you look at there's a great chart that I believe it was the Harvard Women's Clinic put out depicting perimenopause and how hormones actually look when they tracked women. And it literally was the craziest, most absurd roller coaster ride you'd ever seen. And when I showed women this in my practice, they're like, yep, that's exactly how I feel right there. That's how I feel. And eventually it does settle out. Eventually, there's the consistent phase where you're reproductive in your 20s and 30s, teens, 20s and 30s. And then there's the perimenopausal phase that hits in like the 40s and 50s. And then then you do, everything kind of drops down. You're not making the hormones like you were in your younger years. And it does tend to settle out for a lot of women, but it's that middle stage.
Oh, it's
That's a bugger.